What's going on, you guys? It's Kenny here. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a quick one, but a very important one. So stick around because I'm going to talk about training volume, the correct training volume for beginner natural lifters, intermediate natural lifters, and of course, advanced natural lifters. So in my opinion, the best volume, the best training volume, that is, for natural lifters is going to be training each muscle group twice per week. You heard that right. Twice per week. Okay? I am not a fan of the Mike Menser, Arthur Jones high intensity training. I'm not a fan of it. I think it can work for some individuals, mainly just beginners and those who are taking drugs, performance enhancing drugs. It is not going to work for advanced natural lifters or even intermediate natural lifters. Like I said before, maybe some beginners, but eventually you're going to plateau and you're going to need some more volume. All right. Your muscles want to be trained. Okay. Hear that again. Your muscles want to be trained. It always boggles my mind how people think if they just train, let's say, chest on one day, and then they think they have to wait 5 more days until they train it again. It blows my mind. Because does a carpenter, an aspiring carpenter, I'll just use a carpenter as an example here, does an aspiring carpenter do his carpentry work on a Tuesday and then wait all the way till Saturday or Sunday to do it again? No. All right, he's doing it the next day and the day after that. Okay, and that's what you need to do if you want to build the best physique possible, right? The physique of your dreams. You're going to need to train your muscles pretty frequently. So training frequency, each muscle twice per week. And I'll just use a few old school examples here. So Steve Reeves, everyone knows him. He did 3 times a week. Okay, not twice, 3 times a week. He did full body Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday mornings. Okay, so that's a guy who did a crap ton of volume. And look at the physique that he was able to build. So the evidence is there, and there's plenty of other lifters that I'm not going to really touch on because it's not the point of the video. That's just me saying the evidence is out there, right? We know high volume works for natural lifters. Now, on the other side of things, for the high intensity training or whatever, you got to look at who it works for. It's really hard to find a natural lifter who finds success doing that. It's very hard. All right. And even if there is someone out there, it's pretty questionable if they're natural or not. Right. Now, when it comes to sets and reps, I do 5 sets, 4 to 5 sets each movement. All right. Now, all of these sets, they're not working sets. So relax. All right. I'm not doing 5 working sets of, let's say, incline dumbbell curls, right? What I am doing is 2 to 3 warm-up sets of each and every movement I do, and then 2, sometimes 3, usually just 2 though, working sets. Now the working sets are to failure, all right? That means you can't do another clean rep, right? That's what failure means. The warm-up sets, I'm working up to the weight I'm going to be using on that movement on that particular day, and I'm not going to failure. All right, these are pretty much high rep sets. It's like 10 to 15 reps for these first 2 to 3 warm-up sets. And then after those, then I'm getting into the working sets. And that is for every movement I do. Okay, even on, let's say, the back end of a tricep workout, I'm doing my 3rd or 4th and final tricep movement, I'm still doing 2 to 3 warm-up sets on that movement. Even though it's the 4th movement of the day, my triceps are plenty warmed up, I'm still doing those warm-up sets. That's how I like doing it, because I like getting the blood flowing to whatever part of the body I'm working. All right, I like getting nice and warmed up. It helps me on my working sets. It just helps me perform way better. Now, as for rep ranges, anything above 7 to 8 reps, right? Anything below, I've never really found success with when it comes to bodybuilding or hypertrophy training, building muscle. Never really found success doing anything lower than 7 to 8 reps. It's always been beyond 8 reps, always. And that doesn't mean I'm doing 10 reps, let's say, dropping the weight. No, that means I'm failing after 8 reps. So whatever number that lands on, could be 13, whatever I get to, or maybe 10, maybe 9, whatever number I get to, whatever number I'm failing at, that's what I do. It just has to be above 7 to 8 reps. So I'm just going to do the math here on that. That's about 15 total sets of, whatever muscle group I'm doing, because I usually do 3 to 4 movements of whatever I'm doing. So let's say I'm doing back, I'll do low pulley row, then I'll do, pull-ups or whatever, then behind the neck lat pull down, then I'll do like a elevated barbell row or something. That's 4 movements. I'm doing 18 to 20 sets, because I usually do, like 1, maybe 2 warm-up sets of pull-ups. That's 18 to 20 total sets in that workout. Are all of them working sets? No, about half of them are working sets. The other half, of course, are warm-up sets. And I just want you guys to think about this for a minute. There are 52 weeks in a year, so if you're only hitting each muscle group once per week, you're only really hitting that muscle 52 times a year. And that's if you don't miss any weeks, any workouts, right? Any workouts within a week and whatnot. Wouldn't you want to double that? Maybe even triple that? Find out if you can triple that? I'm not there yet. I haven't gotten that far, but don't you want to double that at least? Instead of 52, 104, right? And I also want to take this moment in the video to talk about the weekly structure that a lot of guys fall victim to, kind of scheduling their workout off of. They think just Monday through Sunday, right? And then they have to start over the next week on Monday. You don't have to do that, okay? You can do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday train, Thursday off, maybe you need an off day or whatever, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, those 3 workouts, do them all over again, right? So whatever you did Monday, do it again on Friday. Whatever you did Tuesday, do it again on Saturday. And of course, whatever you did Wednesday, do it again on Sunday, okay? Then Monday, off, okay, rest again, and then restart, right, on Tuesday. Keep going. Follow that structure, right? And that's, of course, that's if you want rest days on every 4th day. So find what works for you. Maybe you need a rest day after 2 days of training. So every 3rd day is your rest day. So be it. What I'm trying to say is don't confine yourselves to the weekly schedule, right? Like 7 days, then I have to restart, right? It's total baloney. Don't do that, all right? Okay, the last thing I want to touch on in this video is that you don't always have to do twice per week. Some muscles on your body, all right, and this is going to vary across everyone, right? It's going to be different for everybody. Some muscles might need more, okay? Me personally, I have to train my calves at least 4 times a week to see any progress. If I'm only training twice per week, like every other muscle group that I do, I see no progress, all right? They're stuck. They don't grow at all. So you got to do some experimentation here. You got to figure out, let's say your biceps, they just stop growing. And you're training them twice per week. You're doing everything right? You're training hard, okay? And they're just not growing. Maybe you're somebody that needs 3 times a week for biceps, So hopefully you understand what I'm saying here. Not everyone's going to be the same, okay? Who knows? Maybe you are that like 1 in a million that can only train each muscle once per week. But I doubt that, okay? Because after 3, 4 days, 5 days being off from one muscle group, like you got to be recovered at some point. If you're not recovered, let's say you're doing chest on Monday. If you're not recovered until the next Monday or Sunday, what are we doing? Is your recovery that terrible? I hope not. But twice per week, of course, who knows, maybe some other muscles on your body might need 3, 4 times a week. Who knows? You're going to have to find that out for yourself. But I'll just finish this video talking about myself. I've never been a guy who has trained for strength specifically. I've always trained for bodybuilding, for hypertrophy, for muscle building, and I've only been training for about 7 years bodybuilding style. Before that, I did baseball training, baseball specific stuff, some strength movements like squats. Sometimes I would go down in the basement, do like barbell curls, push-ups or whatever, weighted pull-ups, but I never had a strict bodybuilding schedule that I stayed consistent on. Once the baseball season started, I didn't touch a weight because that's what we thought back then for some reason. So yeah, I've been training for about 7 years now, and the growth is there. You guys saw the footage, right? I showed some transformation photos. The growth is there, and I can attest that to training for hypertrophy and training with high volume. All right, because I'll say this in this video, I started out doing this Steve Reeves program. I was doing it 3 workouts a week, same workout, full body, 3 times. So I was training every single muscle 3 times per week starting out. Was I training as intensely as I could have been? Absolutely not. But I started off with very high volume, and then I went to like an Arnold program, every muscle twice per week, saw great growth doing that. And now I'm on kind of like my own little thing now, training like twice per day now. But that's because I can do it. I've done the work. I've found out what can work for me, what does work for me. I figured that out, which is what I urge you to do. All right, don't watch videos on YouTube like, oh, you gotta do, this many workouts a week, this many days a week. Listen to your body, okay? Make sure you're taking measurements, tracking everything. Do what works for you. Don't just blindly follow someone else's thing, right? And that's what I hope I've been successful at in this video, trying to get you guys to realize that you got to listen to your own body, all right? Because if you're doing someone else's, whatever, program or whatever, and it's not working, why would you keep doing that, right? Do what works for you, and that means training volume, all right? Which is what I wanted to talk about in this video, what has worked for me, which is high volume. And I guarantee it, if you give it a try, it will definitely work for you. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, God bless, and I will catch you in the next one.